Abraham Lincoln Walks at Midnight is the tallest and most dominant statue overlooking the Kanawha River. It was cast by Charleston artist Bernie Weeper in 1974 from a model sculptor Fred Torrey made in 1935. The statue represents a troubled president considering how to respond to West Virginia's request for statehood during the Civil War. It took decades to raise the funds, including pennies and dimes from 40,000 school children in a statewide campaign, and matching funds from Summersville entrepreneur Bill Bryant. The poem, Lincoln Walks at Midnight, by poet Vasha Lindsay, is the basis for the somber visage. By far the most expansive collection of statuary is the West Virginia Veterans Memorial, featuring the names of West Virginians who gave their lives in defense of their country. 10,197 names. That's the most per capita of any state in the nation. Charleston native sculptor Joe Mullins created the multifaceted tribute, which was built during the entire decade of the 1990s. The 4 bronze figures are a World War I infantryman, a World War II sailor, a Korean War airman, and a Vietnam-era Marine. A female soldier later joined the collection in 2011. But there are more, so many more. The Union Soldiers and Sailors Monument was funded by the state and finished in 1930, well before the Capitol itself was open, but it was the second on the grounds. The first was the new statue was the Stonewall Jackson. It was approved by the legislature in 1910, and the Daughters of the Confederacy hired Confederate veteran Moses Ezekiel to sculpt the bronze. Jackson, a Civil War hero for the Confederacy, is a native of Clarksburg. The west entrance sculptures are the works of John Donnelly and are figures of Roman mythology. The gods and demigods, Vestia, Neptune, and Ceres. Capitol architect Cass Gilbert included these mythical figures for the east wing facing the courtyard. He placed Heracles, Jupiter, Fortuna, and there are mythical Roman gods and goddesses on the east and west wings as well. Then there's the Mountaineer Soldier statue supported by veterans of the Union Army, showing a militiaman with his musket and a Union flag. Former House Speaker Colonel William Seymour Edwards was instrumental in that construction. The militiaman stands proudly outside the state Supreme Court of Appeals side of the Capitol. The Booker T. Washington Memorial was dedicated in 1985 to honor that legendary educator from Malden. Born into slavery, he dedicated his life to securing funding for hundreds of schools for African American children. Then there's the Fallen Firefighter, created by James Edward Likens in 1991, depicting the firefighter with an axe in one hand, protecting a child with the other. In 1990, W.D. Hopen of Sutton created the figure of a policeman with a shield and a gun, commissioned by the state chapter of the Fraternal Order of Police. The Coal Miners Memorial was designed by Burl Johns in 2002 and meant to honor the hundreds of thousands of West Virginia coal miners over the centuries of trials and tribulations. In 2020, West Virginia Medal of Honor recipient Woody Williams spearheaded the Gold Star Families Memorial to honor not only fallen veterans, but the families who supported them. And on the West Virginia Division of Motor Vehicles building, the seldom noticed Spirit of West Virginia mural, completed in 1950, and yes, those are rhododendrons or mountain laurel bushes at the feet. And though it's not quite a mural, artisans took a hammer and a chisel for a new structure in the late 1970s. They hammered out the first letter A, then an R. An hour later, the C appeared. This reporter began to wonder what it would spell out. Joined by Andy Gallagher, then of the Associated Press, the letter H became evident. Was it possible that then Governor Arch Moore was putting his name on the new edifice? The governor strolled by, state trooper in tow, smiled broadly, ignored my shouted questions, and walked away. It took another hour for the I and then the V to come into view. It would eventually spell out archives and history, yes. For the Legislature Today, I'm Bob Brunner.